आएंगे हमारी एक खास कॉन्वर्सेशन में। ईटी नाउ स्वदेश के मैनेजिंग एडिटर निकुंज डालमिया ने डिलॉयट इंडिया के सीईओ एन वेंकटराम से खास बातचीत की थी। आइए कुछ अंश सुनाते हैं आपको इस कॉन्वर्सेशन के।
Hello and welcome to ET Interview. The year 2021 belongs to humanity. Yes, indeed, it belongs to humanity. It is the human spirit which has prevailed. It is the collective effort of human spirit, human machinery, mass manufacturing of vaccine which has made this day possible, that I'm sitting next to my guest outside the studio without the mask, and we'll talk about learnings and experiences of 2021 and the way ahead. And it gives me great pleasure to bring on board N. Venkataraman to talk about what his understanding of the year, the world and the Deloitte businesses. So good to meet you in person. We've been talking on Zoom and various other video interferences, but nothing like the real world.
Absolutely, Nikunj. Of course, with a 6-foot distance, which is nice.
It's been a tough year. It's been a rough year, but it's a year which in a sense belongs to humanity. Where we were at the beginning of the year versus where we are right now. It's a delight, it's a relief, and it's a happy feeling.
Absolutely.
What is your sense? What is the way forward? The worst is behind us?
Well, I would say that it was a mixed year. I think that when we looked at what happened up to June or July, it was terrible, right? And after that, I think corporates have been doing better. They've been feeling better. Certainly, the listings which have taken place, there's been a lot to make people ebullient. But the reality is that there's still a lot of work ahead of us. And maybe that's something that we can talk about today, that, how do we build India? How do we thrive? Because I certainly think that revive has happened, and we've got to look at how we thrive.
So we spoke about survive, thrive. Let's talk about the world around us. It's never been this good for India, at least in my experience. You got a startup economy which is booming. You got a Mahakumbh in Capex which has started according to Mr. Birla. And you've got this word animal spirits which I have not used for a while. I'm freely using it now. Is it true? You think you've seen things have just fallen into place for us?
I think they're falling in place. Yes, it's good that we have the startups and that the showcasing of innovation in India is taking place. I do believe there is more to come. I mean, despite the fact that we've had so many listing already. As far as the capex is concerned, it's very necessary. We've had sort of a famine on greenfield ventures. Of course, in the early days of insolvency, a lot of the brownfield ventures, the large companies in cement, steel, they were lapped up by good investors. Now the real issue is, if truly the Mahakumbh does happen, and we do manage to put more than a lota of water into this, and see that investment possibly, in my view, to the view of another 400 billion over the next 6 years happens, for making India a manufacturing economy, to give us $1 trillion of, say, export and manufacturing, point number 2 would also happen.
Which is the more exciting piece according to you? Is it the revival in steel, cement, textile, or the way how startup ecosystem is now thriving? Which is the more exciting part?
I think both are exciting, and of course we didn't talk about number 3, which is the technology itself. But both are exciting because if you look at India, and the India in which you and I have lived, grown up, and which we will continue to celebrate for many years to come, hopefully, is that today services is a large part of our GDP and our exports. I really think that if we look at manufacturing, the best is yet to come. The reason being that you've got to balance both. I mean, I think our minister talks about it when the commerce minister, when he talks about $1 trillion of export and services, as well as $1 trillion on manufacturing. So I think that certainly we should be looking and concentrating now on when there is an interest in India. And by the way, we did a survey, and that survey tells us the interest is in our skills, in our talent, and particularly the talent around technology, and most importantly in our domestic market. So we've got all the things going for us. All three are going for us.
When we spoke last, the PLI schemes were getting incubated. That was an idea. Has that translated into real groundwork?
Yes, it has, and I think that there's a lot of enthusiasm around it. And when I talk to companies as well, many of them, in fact, had been asking for more. But sadly, you do have to have ceilings on these. I also think the careful way in which the PLI schemes have been crafted sort of gives us an indication of which are the sectors where India is looking at growth. And you would find some of them are, traditional sectors that we've been out of for some time, like textiles and apparel, for example, but in a modernized form where you're looking more in terms of speciality. I would hope that new areas such as food processing would come up. But certainly I think that, electronics and the like would also be very high, automotive parts and components. You have about 6 or 7 sectors that I believe will fuel India's growth.
The report we have come out with, you talked about 8
Yes,
sectors.
yes.
Same time last year, companies you had indicated to us, they are telling you, Venkat, tell us how can we save and conserve. Now the same companies perhaps must be telling you that tell us how can we reinvest what we've saved to grow.
The funny thing is when wave 2 happened, wave 1 formula didn't work. As you rightly said, the first year, it was all about conservation of cash. But in wave 2, people weren't looking in terms of conserving cash. They had already decided where they were going to invest. They had already looked in terms of how they unblock and leverage on what they have and get rid of assets they didn't want, for example. So I think that today investment strategies, companies are pretty clear on what they want to do. I think the confidence that the government will also support them in this, whether it is by schemes and the like, is there. I think perhaps what we have to now unlock is on regulation to see that the coordination when you say center and states always needs continuous improvement. I get mixed feelings there. A lot of companies say, yes, we made a lot of progress because it is marvelous the way in which single window is working. But there are others who say more can be done. But I think a little more, what in Reiki you call as unblocking needs to happen. Somebody's got to tap the chakras. There are a few chakras that are still blocked. But once you do that unblocking of the chakras, I think everybody is willing to invest.
There's the reason why we saw sugar rush in IT in 2020, middle of 2020. Everybody wanted to just work from home. Every unit wanted to digitize. But the demand is still growing leap and frog. It's that business is when we speak to the listed companies, some unlisted companies, the hiring is excellent. I've been told the Deloitte IT service is doing exceedingly well. What has changed and why is this change now permanent for us?
Maybe the white sugar became brown sugar, right? I think people are a totally different high at this point in time. Certainly, if I look at IT, ITES, it's really on the roll. I think employees as well, if you look at the hot skills, if you look at the sort of pay that is now going out to employees who have the skills, it's phenomenal. There is also a very quiet part in IT that people don't talk much about. And those are what we call the Global Capability Centers, the GICs or GCCs. These are basically the offshore arms of the major Fortune 500 companies. About 25% of the Fortune 500 actually have outfits here in India. They employ about, I think, 1.3 million people. There are about 1,300 of these. And even during the pandemic, a reason why they had minimal disruption is because the work in India continued. And I think the resilience of India was portrayed and captured extremely well in the way in which the IT community and the GCC community in India behaved. A large part of it, by the way, is in global financial services. So yes, there's a lot of demand. There's a lot of demand because if you look at the digital side, it's less than 4% really of what needs to be done is done globally. And when people look as to where they get it done, not only for cost, but also for the skills and the innovation that's available, it's India. So a lot of work is coming to India. A lot of the providers of these services have large outfits in India as well. So this is a boom which is, I think, a minimum of a 15-year boom. And the reason I say 15 years is typically we don't do projections for more than 5. And at best you can hazard it to 15. But probably it may even be a 35-year boom. I don't know.
So you're talking about a double-digit growth for next 15 years. I'll not get into 35, but 10%, 12% growth for next 10 years, 15 years?
Certainly, because I think that last 15 years have been double digit, so there's no reason to believe that the next 15 won't be double digit for the technology industry.